like, subscribe, and comment. That'd be great.
Werewolf the Podcast can be found now at all good podcasting sites. This video is sponsored by Plop to Drop, the new app from App Store or Google Play that times the release from your ass to the water of your poop, and from that can work out your digestive health. Go find it. Plop to Drop. Fen story. If you listen to the last episode, you know about Fen running away with Gennady, running from love. This is a continuation of that story. After my loss of Gennady, I was in the land of what you call the Vikings. They were the Norsemen or the Ostmen. The Vikings is a descriptive word for these animals of the old days, really. Those that would be the raiders of the sea describes the Vikings. They went Vikining, raiding. These were the best people that I'd ever met. These people saw strength as merit. They fought for honour and the sheer pleasure of doing so. I loved this society. There was no equality or equanimity between humans. The richer and more powerful you were, the better you were as a person. Slaves were there and they were just a thing, not a person. You treat them well in the main because they're valuable tools and worth a lot of money. I loved this shit. A true meritocracy where the best rise to the top, and as a werewolf you could shine like one of their purely mental gods. A beast is always best. I also loved the fact that those gods that they had could fuck up and have fun like any human. They weren't really worshipped, just like loved for who they were. You didn't ask them for help. They did it if they liked. I mean, I fucking belonged here, hence why I am now called Fenrir. In this society, if anyone slighted you, you would fight them or expect to be paid somehow for that slight or look a coward. It was just an understood part of their lives. Power and martial prowess was seen as everything. Violence was an expectation, not a fucking Christian sin. Yeesh. Slave religion. You fought to survive. Oh, I am close to... sorry. Men were men and women were women, but no one got lost in gender politics because each was the power in some part of the relationship. That said, there was equality and equanimity in the home between men and women. Okay, they had their roles within the home, but the woman was the boss of the hearth and home. She was the one who controlled all goings on in life concerning family and house. The man just provided. Women had a lot of power. They could divorce if they wished. They could marry for a contracted agreed amount of time. They could fight if they wanted. Shield maidens were rare, but they were a thing, and they had much respect from the men they fought alongside. Anyone willing to fight was treated with respect. Such a beautiful society. I'd left Gennady on the steppe. He had wholly broken down and was no longer capable of living. When I left him, he was starved and grieving for his loss. I had to move on. Please listen to the last episode. It will make so much sense. He was so weak that I couldn't stand it anymore. Please don't think that I had not tried to help him and get him to a better place, but you can only help people so much before you just give up. He had given up, so I had to. He was the strongest of men, but he had fallen to the easiest weakness for a strong man to fall. Fucking love. Fucking love. My next binding will be with a human that cannot feel that ridiculous emotion. I could feel those that did not feel. They felt different. They would be the chosen ones now. I understood it now as I made my way west after leaving poor Gennady. I was ethereal and unseen with no physicality. I felt naked and and powerless. I needed a body and a mind with which to work. I took Thorstein as my new soul. He had difficulty accepting me at first. He needed it all to fit in with his religion and stuff, but luckily, the idea that a man could carry the soul of an animal and his own was already in the faith of the Norse. I met him when very young. He was a farmer's child and was fishing with friends. He sat by the river and just shone to me. I saw his soul like a bright beacon flame. He was emotionless. I don't know if that's the correct thing, but there was no love in him, and all I felt was the want of power and fame and success. That was what I needed. I needed him to continue my journey. Oh, and he was a beautiful child. Sorry, looks are important. Everything in the human world is based around if you are pretty or good looking, as it were. If you are beautiful, you are more powerful than you can imagine. He was blonde haired, well fed and strapping, and the pride of his mother and father. He fished as I moved to him. I stood behind the boy as the sun went behind the dark clouds of the coming storm. Lightning flittered through the clouds as thunder crashed around. His friends grabbed their things and ran home in fear, squealing and squeaking. In his eyes they were weak and cowardly. Thorstein had been told to get fish. He had 3, and he wanted 1 more before leaving. Thorstein was brave, and I respected that. He sat stoically, intent on his line now as his friends ran for home in a semi-panic. The rain now started to smash into the ground. It tore through the leaves of the bushes and the trees. It exploded on the surface of the water. The noise was deafening and reassuring for him as well. I felt him relax as he pulled the skin cover over his head to intercept the falling droplets. I slowly removed myself from the cover of the bushes. He couldn't see me unless I wanted to. You have to remember that if you could see me, I would look like a giant black-pelted wolf, twice as large as anything seen in this part of the world. That would be terrifying to this small human being if he could look upon me. I had to do this carefully. His initial reaction would be everything. He would pass or fail the... What's a modern word for it? Let's call it the interview process with just that instant of reaction. I walked within a few feet and sent a message into his brain. Turn around. A telepathic link was formed. I knew he'd heard me, but he shrugged and continued his focus on his line. He was twitching it in the water to try and get the fish that would now be at the bottom of the pool. Turn around, I ordered. The boy now changed in manner. He slowly placed the fishing stick onto the floor and laughed. No, Arn, you won't make me fear. I know it is you, and it will not go well for you. I must get another fish. Then I will play your games with you. You fight like a whelp. Give me a moment, then I will teach you the lesson you need, he spoke. Turn around and see me, I repeated. The boy rocked his head back and laughed. His laughter, a peal of bells and music to my ears. I could already smell and sense his intelligence. He was going to be perfect. If this first meeting went well, there was so many that would break at the first meeting. I had failed to fit in with 9 others. This would be the moment that would be the first significant test. There was something more to this creature before me. He was more than human. It would be an honour to bond with this one and continue my journey. He now shrugged off his cover, stood with his back to me, and he was giggling. I will turn around when I'm ready. I hope your fists are hardened and your head ready to be swollen. He rolled up his shirt sleeves as they got slick with rain and shook the water from his arms. Are you ready for me, Arn? He turned his head, tilted for battle. His fists were balled, and he was happy about this distraction. He didn't expect me to be standing there. But you know what? He didn't flinch. His eyes met mine, and he froze. There was a brief look of confusion, a quick look of concern, but not fear. He didn't freeze in fear. He froze in interest And then the little monster smiled. The little bastard thought he might be able to take on this 8-foot tall wolf in front of him. His eyes moved quickly to his kit on the floor and the knife's handle that was visible there. I followed his eyes, and then as he lifted them to mine, I shook my head, and the little fucker smiled again. I loved this kid. He had my heart already and was still going to go for the knife to rip mine out of my body. You think you're going to get there before me? I sent to his mind. Confusion flashed across the boy's face. He'd just heard me or had heard something. He had no idea what the fuck was going on right now. He relaxed a little and maintained eye contact as he opened and closed his fists. There was a long pause and a moment of, well, as close to silence as there could be with the sky falling on our heads. You spoke, Wolf? He said. I shook my head and I said, Nope, I'm speaking in your head. This confused him even more. He quickly accepted it though. It was impressive how quickly he got his faculties together to be able to respond. You are a wolf? No, it's not that simple. I'm not a wolf, I replied. You are a god? No, I am no god. I am a lot more real than that. You are a wolf spirit? Kind of, but no. Are you Fenrir? I had no idea at this time what or who Fenrir was, but this was an interesting in. I will be truthful with you, boy. I am no boy, he butted in anger, evident in his stance. I laughed at his response. He was not joking with me and he got a little bit angry. He was not trying to be funny. He wanted to point out this as a point of respect. You are a boy to me. You will have to prove otherwise if you want me to respect you. But there again, I don't respect men any more than I respect boys. Though to be honest, you do need to earn my respect. Again, the kid stepped in. Why would I want your respect, Wolf? Oh, well, I can make you the greatest of all men. I can give you the power and the knowledge to be the greatest of all time. I know that is what you want. You want to be the greatest warrior of all time. You want to have power. You wish for riches. And I have been sent to help. Why? Why would you want to do that? If you have that power, why not just be the biggest and strongest yourself? Why don't you just do that, Wolf? He smiled as he said this, and it threw me. He must truly be intelligent to see that there must be something in this for me. He was fucking great. You are a clever boy. I am a beast soul that the gods offer to those they have chosen, I winged. They have decided they want you to be the greatest warrior and king of all time. They want you to be great so that you can aid them in their battles. He looked at me confused and thoughtful. You mean I helped them at Ragnarok? He asked, now with some excitement. I had no idea what Ragnarok was, so I had to be a little bit devious in my questioning. What do you know of that? Tell me what you know, I asked. He paused and gave me an intense and quizzical look. This was amazing. Most people freak the fuck out when they have a telepathic wolf talking to them. They think that they've gone nuts or something. Not this kid. He was asking me difficult questions. After some time, he nodded his head and the water ran from his nose to the ground. Ragnarok is the last day of the gods. They will fight the Chaos Gods. They will fight the Chaos Gods, and they will lose. That was why I wondered if you were Fenrir. He is a giant, a great giant wolf, but he is tied at the base of the world tree with a sword through his jaws until the end of days comes. The wolf Fenrir will eat the sun and kill all Father Odin. That was why I wondered if you were Fenrir. But why would Fenrir want me to be the best of warriors? Why would he want me to fight against him on the day? I thought about this. I need worthy opponents. I want to fight only the best, so my spirit is yours to learn from and work with to become truly powerful and worthy of that battle. I am the spirit released from my trapped body so I can wander the world and mix with your race. I am Fenrir. I can combine with you to make you unstoppable. How does that sound? Again, he thought. That sounds good. How do I know you're not tricking me? You are the son of Loki, after all. Are you ready for some proof? I asked. He nodded, and I tore into him as we transformed into the werewolf. The rain had stopped, and he peered into the water before him, studied himself, and he moved around just to check if it was actually him. Once satisfied, he found where I was in his mind, and we laughed together uncontrollably. The perfect combination. So that is the story of how I became Fenrir Wolf. And never thought, but Thorstein and I became infamous in what you would call the Viking world. He was one of the greatest warriors that have ever lived, and he has parts in many sagas that are not attributed to him. When we hear of a berserker, we hear of men that would transcend by taking in a creature's soul. Berserker may be based on the word bear men or bear men, either being a bearman or not wearing a shirt, as in bear men. But Thorstein Wolfblood was the first berserker of his kind. He would charge into battle in werewolf form and decimate those before him. And we'll carry on with some of his stories as film tells them to me. At least now we know why Fenrir is called Fenrir. Thanks for listening. Love you. Bye.
Plot to drop isn't a real thing. Like and subscribe.